welcome to Ball and Chain Podcast. This is episode 161 for Tuesday, April 23rd, 2013. I'm Mox Born again. I have with me, it's my angel.
Hello.
Hello. So, what's happening?
Oh, not much. Just here.
Just here. Angel was recently reading up on a little bit of information on how to donate bone marrow.
Yep. I
Sounds like a
actually
painful
signed up.
process.
Yeah, it does. But I don't know. If you're asleep during the process, I mean, it freaks me out, the idea of it. But the chances actually of getting called to go in and donate are like they said 1 in 500 something donor people on the registry actually get called to donate. So the chances of it actually happening are kind of slim. But you know, you sign up. They have it like sign up events at different places, or you can go online to. Oh crap! I don't know how to get back to my internet. There's a website you can go on. I'm not being very helpful right now because I have no way of getting to it.
God bless Windows 8.
I hate Windows 8.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad.
I don't know how to close or minimize a freaking window on it. There's no close or minimize
There you go. How's that?
button. There we go. BeTheMatch.com. Anyway, BeTheMatch.com is the part of the National Marrow Donor Program. It's a website where you can watch videos, get step-by-step details on the process of donating marrow. Actually, I'm part of a message board it's a National Infertility Awareness Week. I'm just basically stating that because a girl that I met through the infertility message boards that I frequent has 2 children. One is had a bone marrow transplant at about the age of 1, and now has the donor marrow has taken over, and I think last I heard she had 100% donor cells, so her cells are healthy and she's creating everything she's supposed to. And I have a son who just turned 1, and his donor just backed out at the last minute. Which means if they don't find another donor, the little boy might not make it. So my thought on the matter is it's scary to donate, but what's a couple weeks worth of soreness and stiffness in my back for a child or another adult's life.
Right. And how that would affect. I mean, if Eli was in the same position, we would want anybody to step up or for that, So I can understand, but like I was looking through like not the pictures, but the videos, and the people were like, "Oh yeah, it was great. I expected worse," and I was like, "But they're cutting you open and like the way you described it, like corkscrewing."
Well, that
bone
was
out of you.
that biopsy I think was a little bit different. The way they explain it is 4 incisions that are less than 1/4 of an inch big. They don't even require stitches. And then they stick a hollow needle down into the bone at your pelvic bone in your back, and aspirate. It's actually a small percentage of your actual marrow. It sounds like the worst part was the fatigue.
Afterwards.
Right. For a couple of weeks, but people on there said they were back to work within a couple of days. And you had made a point, that they don't want it to sound terrible, but at the same point, they don't want people going on there and saying they're going to donate, find a match, and then have them back out either.
Right.
They want to
that's
make
true.
sure you have a good commitment and a good understanding of what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, they don't want like false hope or anything like that. That's probably a pretty terrible
Right.
experience. I can't imagine what the person online is going through with their son right now.
Right. So, no, it's a pretty big movement to get out there and get people signed up for it. All you have to do is it takes about 5 minutes online, fill out some, answer some yes/no health questions, and they send you some cheek swabs in the mail, and you just swab your cheek, send it back in. It's totally free. If you do ever happen to get called up, they'll basically ask for some more probably blood work just to make sure that you are the best possible match for your donor. Give you a little bit of information about age, gender of the person that you're donating to. I know for their first donation, they kind of had an open donation. Like he did say he was willing to be contacted, so they did have their donor's name and address, and were able to send some thank yous,
All right.
and kind of vice versa. So it's a big deal, but I don't know. It's interesting. And going along with that, it's the National Infertility Awareness Week. So you may, if you're friends with me on Facebook, have seen daily status updates regarding that. It was started in the 1980s. I think it was 1989, to get awareness out about infertility, because it's always been a taboo subject when people couldn't have kids. It's kind of one of those things like don't talk about. But the more you talk about it, the better chance there might be more legislation that cover people. Infertility is a medical diagnosis. There's uncovered medical diagnoses out there. It shouldn't be like I get to pay $15,000 because I want to have a kid. You have a medical issue, it should be covered by insurance, and it's not in most states. So kind of increasing awareness out there to the how widespread infertility actually is. 1 in 8 couples is affected by it. And less than 3% of those have to go to IVF. We were that less than 3%.
Sad face. But that brought us Eli.
Right. So, and if less than 3% have to go to in vitro, and then under the age of, about 41% of the people doing in vitro have live births per cycle. So you're pretty lucky once you get that little person there. But
That little person.
yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about some video games.
Enough on the heavy topics.
Yeah, that's all
Social.
right. Guys got way too serious, way too quick.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
You're the one who brought it all up.
I'm just kidding. So we got a pretty jam-packed show for you this week. Angel's going to talk about the pre-release for Dragon's Maze. In her segment, I'm going to cover why Nintendo continues to shit on my childhood and smile about it. And then we're going to talk about then we're going to wrap it up, and we'll talk about what we've been playing. So I guess we'll start with that real quick. The only thing that I've been playing is Halo 4. If you follow me on Twitter, recently we announced that Lost Elite is going to be doing some online tournaments. We're getting prepped for some Halo stuff, so I'm trying to find maps, and I know what game types I want to use. We're going to use Oddball is going to be one of them, Slayer, and then King of the Hill. No Slayer or no Capture Flag this go around. So we're looking into getting that up and running. So definitely check out lostelite.com for all more information on that. So that's really all I've been playing, is checking out new maps and stuff like that. Angel's been playing was that Candy Crush Saga Super Smash thingy
Yeah.
Tetris knockoff
That's
game.
about all I've been playing. I haven't had a chance to play anything. Eli's been kind of mommy.
Unfortunate. We did get some magic in last night with Ducky.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
I think last show I was talking about my books, and I did finish all 3.
Oh yeah, how'd the end of the book go? This is good. This is real good, by the way. How'd the end of the book go?
The end of the trilogy, right?
What book are you reading, by the way?
This was the Delirium trilogy.
Okay, go
No,
ahead.
it was really good. I really enjoyed the books. I liked the idea of the books. I liked the characters. I liked everything until I got to the end of the 3rd book, which was sorely disappointing. And actually, it's funny because I decided to look up some information after finishing this book. I'll just tell you, they leave it wide open. Well, I'll go ahead and say it. They're in the middle of this big revolution, right? Like,
Shit has hit the
wars
fan.
going on. The walls that are containing the cities are tumbling down. Everything's going on. Both of her loves, they're both back from the dead. Whatever. Like, she's got 2 people interested in her, and the book just ends.
Does
They're crumbling.
Does the Edmund sentence?
No, I don't think so.
It should.
The walls are crumbling down. They're like in the she's got like this hammer. She's chipping away at the cement wall, and that's the end of the book.
Maybe she dies.
No, she doesn't.
That would be my take on that.
Well, and that's your take, and that's what the author wanted people to come away with. Actually,
I have no creativity. She just gets shot in the back. Some asshole soldier just shoots her in the back, and that's the end of the book.
yeah.
Oh.
Basically, after looking up, because this just killed me, the fact that there was no closure to anything going on in this book.
Help me out with that. There you go.
Thanks. I Googled her, and the author actually had posted a video blog kind of thing about this. And apparently she got a lot of criticism for the way the book ended. And she basically said, well, I got my start in writing by completing other books. She said, I as a child would read books and want to get lost in that world, which I can relate to that. You always feel a sense of sadness when your book has ended. And then it's just done and you're like, okay, what do I do now? Well, her response to that was how I continue writing in that same universe. So here I'm going to write this trilogy of books and leave it totally open-ended so you can end the story however you want it to end. I understand. I do. I understand that, but I need some closure. Like I really do need some closure. I can imagine what's going to go on 10 years from now in that same world if I want to, but give me some closure on what's going on. Does the war end well? Who does she pick as far as her, to be with? And
I don't know. I think she gets shot in the back. That's the end of that. Game
there
over
you go.
for her.
That's your. The author has said that's your choice to choose, I guess, right?
I'm sorry. How do you think it ends? In your version, how does it end?
I have no idea.
Really? You read the book? I haven't read any of this. I don't even know what it is about. Well, I know some of it, but
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how she would. She left it that open ended that I just honestly have no idea how it would end. Because you're seeing the world in only the war going on in only one of the cities. So you don't. They're being victorious there, but who's to say that another city didn't get taken down and they come over and they all get bombed? That could happen.
it could happen. I'd be like getting shot in the back. It just
Yeah.
gets dropped, and that's the end of that.
But
From
anyway,
North
that's my
Korea.
disappointing end of my trilogy I was so into last week.
Unfortunate. All right. Well, let's switch gears and talk about some Dragon's Maze. So
Multiple
pre-release.
dragons? Or is it the maze of the one dragon?
The one dragon. It's apostrophe S, I believe.
Yeah, it is.
So that's would signify ownership.
So who is the one dragon?
I think it's Izzet or Niv, whatever guy's name is.
Cool.
Nick will correct us, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's the one
I'm
dragon
watching
from Ravnica.
watching the feed for it.
Anyway, so let's talk how this is going to go down. As far as the night goes,
The pre-release.
the pre-release. Take it away. This is your segment.
It is.
It is. It says Angel right there. Segment. Dragon's Maze. I'm talking about why Nintendo's shitting on my childhood.
Okay. Apparently, I'm talking about something I got to fly by the seat of my pants on. Oh, look, Nick just responded. Oh no, he just said "woo" again. Okay. Anyway, flying by the seat of my pants.
How does it? How did Gate Crash and Ravnica go?
All right. Well, I'm actually not even understanding this whole Dragon's Maze pre-release because they're adding some crap to it that I just don't get. Anyway,
Okay, you talk about.
just
go,
don't tell
go.
me what to talk about. I'll just talk. Anyway, so Dragon's Maze is the third and final section of this block.
Mm-hmm.
I guess section
you
of
go.
whatever. We know starting with Ravnica and Gate Crash, Dragon's Maze is going to complete, bring in all 10
Bingo.
guilds.
100%
Five,
so far.
yes, five were released in Ravnica and 5 in Gate Crash. Players for this pre-release will be able to choose one guild that they prefer. From Ravnica or from Gate Crash, and then we'll get a pack of cards from those from that set. So I won't be getting a pack of, or like if I pick Orzhov, I won't be getting a pack of Orzhov cards from Dragon's Maze, I'll be getting a pack of Orzhov Ravnica cards, which I feel is a little bit of bullshit because I've already got most of the cards. We bought a box. We've bought plenty of
Okay, well,
whatchamacallit.
let me intersect real quick here. Keep in mind, there's 10 guilds. There's only about 7 or 8 cards per guild in Dragon's Maze. Like Dragon's Maze, like you can't have that, man. With 10, you figure you
I'm
gotta.
aware of that, but
So-
it still is a little like
You feel one-sided. I understand. I
yes.
can understand that.
So okay,
You also feel one-sided because the Planeswalker is not yours, which kind of sucks.
well,
You'll get
Anyway.
yours in M14.
anyway, so you get to pick a guild, and then you're going to be randomly in your box, randomly given a second guild, which coordinates with the guild of your choosing from the other set. So say again, I'm picking Orzhov, which I will hopefully be getting. That came from Gatecrash. So I will be getting any one of white, any of the guilds containing white or black from the Ravnica release, which would include Azorius, Rakdos, Golgari, or Selesnya. So that I don't know what the heck I'll be getting, but I'll be getting a pack of those cards. At any rate, so I'll be getting a pack of Ravnica cards, a pack of Gatecrash cards, and 4 packs, booster packs for the Dragon's Maze cards. So that's kind of how that's going to play out. No dice involved this time, which is
Yeah.
a boo. No sticker, which is also sad. However, players will be receiving. You'll have to remind me because you told me, and I don't think I really cared that much about what I was going to be receiving. So, a pin.
Yeah, a pin from your guild.
That's right, because we're all supposed to wear these little pins and say, "Hey, look who I am." Because the other part of this release that I really don't get and really am not all that excited about is the actual Dragon's Maze. Apparently, there's going to be some kind of a poster with a maze on it, and based on how many games people from your guild win is how far you'll progress through this maze. So say 5 people at the pre-release picked Orzhov, and I honestly don't understand how it's going to work, but apparently some guy is going to move us around a little piece of paper, and that's going to make us happy for some reason. So that's the pre-release. And
That's
yeah.
very cynical, but that's how it goes. That's how it goes. But you're absolutely right. So the
And
running
then what
the
happens
maze.
if you have because Gruul was not a very well liked guild, right?
Right.
So what if one guy picks Gruul? He's
running
gonna
the
be
ma-
screwed.
He's running the maze
And you
by
get
himself.
10 Orzhovs against 3 Demirs and 1 little Gruul guy. I don't know. I don't see how it's gonna work.
Well,
I would feel like they would have to regulate and say, okay, we have to have 5 of each guild. If they've got 50 people there, you're going to have 5 people for each guild. And
I'm sure they'll take,
the first 10 people who pick Orzhov get that. The next 10, you have to choose something different.
I'm sure they'll regulate it as far as they'll take an average of how many people are playing that guild, so it all will average out to. So if there's 10 people doing Orzhov and 1 person doing Gruul, like you said, they will equal each other at the end. So anyway, so I'm looking forward to it. What's what
Oh,
cards?
sorry.
What cards are you looking forward to? I mean, you said you're looking to play Orzhov.
Yes. I don't remember. I think there was a vampire that was pretty cool.
This debt of the Deathless.
I don't
Looks
think I've
pretty
even seen
sweet.
that. It's
2 black,
expensive.
2 black, 2 blue, or 2 white and X sorcery. Each opponent loses 2 times X life, and you gain life equal to the life lost this way.
Be good in multiplayer.
Oh yeah,
Not necessarily single player. It's too expensive in competition, for a competition game to get,
but as far as a 5-person game, you could be
Right.
gaining some massive
No,
health.
that definitely I can see being used in multiplayer, but nothing in.
That's what and you do bring up a very good point. A lot of these cards from Gatecrash, or not Gatecrash, excuse me, Dragon's Maze are kind of expensive.
Yes,
They're
very
they are
expensive.
I mean, this one, the one, Pontiff of Blight,
Zombie cleric.
yeah, Zombie Cleric, 2/7 for 6, extort. But the awesome part about this is all your other creatures you control have extort. So this, unfortunately, this late in the game, you're probably not going to be casting many spells. But on the other hand, you're going to have a ton of mana. So when you cast one spell, you can extort it 5 or 6 times.
Which is interesting because someone here on our feed did bring up the fact that the other two sets, Ravnica and Gatecrash, had full 200 plus cards. Those are really your sets, and that this is supposed to be a support set in his words.
Right.
Which is so that, I mean, that does make it interesting that okay, so my two guilds I'm going to be focusing on, and these are going to be my maybe later in the game kind of more game changing cards, ones that have like super massive crazy abilities, but that I won't rely on in my deck necessarily 100%. They're if you think of these as being your support cards, that does kind of make it interesting.
This one's not too bad. This vampire 2/1 with lifelink and extort for 2. That's it's not too bad.
Right.
It's a good
I
2
hadn't
drop.
seen her.
But here's your and each guild has their own champion or whatever. So yours is 7 for Vigil.
Which is the most expensive. That's
Yeah.
another thing that pisses me off too, is that I feel like each champion should cost the same. Orzhov has the most expensive champion, I think.
I believe you're right. But still, what it does, I mean, it's a 4/4 vigilance, protection from creatures, and then whenever it deals combat damage, whenever a creature deals combat damage to you, destroy that creature, and then you, the owner of this champion,
Right, 'cause
puts
they
a
put a
1/1
1/1
white black spirit creature into play with flying. So,
I don't know. I still think that like all the guilds should be even, and if they're gonna put champions with some crazy abilities, they should all cost the same. That's my
Right.
opinion.
Now, me
And
on
who
the
am
other
I?
hand, they released this card last week because they've announced all the cards. Me on the other hand, I'm excited for this card called Hidden Strings, only because it's very reminiscent to Puppet Strings, and that was from Tempest. Right, well, when I played, it was in Tempest. Right before I stopped playing, and I adored that card so much. It was very versatile. This one's not nearly as versatile. The fact that it's a Dimir card got me kind of excited. It's got Cypher, so you can put it on a creature, and then whenever it deals combat damage, you can recast it for free. But essentially, with a sorcery for 2, you can tap or untap target permanent. So that's creature, land, enchantment, anything. And then you may, again, tap or untap another target permanent. So, this is pretty, it's not as big as the Puppet Strings because you could definitely take advantage of people attacking you and tapping their creatures prior to attacking.
I'm confused about that trait doctoring one that's right next to it.
Yeah, that one's kind of weird. And the fact that it's a rare, basically, you change either because there's a card down here that has Forest Walk. So you could make it have Plains Walk. It's unblockable if someone controls a plane. So, you can change the color of a permanent or whatever. Again, that's Cypher too.
That's an instant, right? Or
It's
not,
it's a sorcery.
but yeah.
It's just
off of that
till end of turn. So it's, I can see it
I don't
having
know.
some
I'm sure there'll be some good. Somebody will find some really creative, awesome way to use it. But until then, it seems really
right.
confusing.
Well, and the other thing too is you have to keep in mind that this set, after M14, there'll be a new set coming out, and this will be contained. So if it's not prevalent now, going forward, or there's also other,
Relevant.
there's other formats, legacy. There's not just standard. So, the one thing the other card that I'm interested in is this Reap Intellect. Kind of expensive, but yet it's the lobotomy on steroids. I wish it cost 1 less. That way, if you paid 1 for the X, it's the same same casting cost as a lobotomy. So it really only becomes powerful or useful if you've got 6 land to tap. So it's 1 black, 1 blue, 2 colorless, and then X. Essentially, you look at target player's hand, pick a card, and they remove everything from the game. So you can pay 2 for X or 3 for X, whatever the case may be. But let's see here. So those are the cards. So those are the two cards that I'm really looking forward to. The guild champion is another one that's he's gonna be somewhat useful in my opinion. Still a little on the expensive side, not quite your Orzhov 7. He's only gonna bring you down 5 for a 3/4, or excuse me, a 2/4 with flying. But when he hits you in combat damage, you're gonna mill till you
Wait.
get 4 lands.
So your champion's a vampire?
It is.
Oh, I like vampires.
Yep. He drinks your mind too. Puts it
Not
in a
just your blood.
not just your blood and your mind. Puts it in a blender.
Yum.
Anyway, so that's that. So I'm actually pretty excited for the Dimir side. I kind of have an idea. They said that the sets are random that you're gonna get. So like if you pick Dimir, like we broke down before. You're gonna get a random set. However, I was looking through these cards that they released, and every guild has 2 split cards. One is of their guild, like mine is 2 Demirs, far and away. But the other one is 2 gold cards, one from Demir and the other one's from Rakdos. So I have a suspicion that whoever you pick, you're going to get the other half of that split card, and that's going to be how to determine.
So all Demir players are going to have Rakdos?
And all Rakdos people are going to have Demir.
Well, that's
'cause
not going to really
each-
randomize. That's not going to really spread it out very much.
Well, I'm not for sure. That's just my hunch. So I don't know. Who knows?
What's the Orzhov?
I think you're Selesnya. I think.
I hope not.
Let's scroll down here. Where are you? Yeah, you are Selesnya. That's the little tree thing,
Ready
right?
and willing.
Yeah. So that's the other thing too. I'm not a big fan of these split cards, but the fact that they have fuse kind of makes it a little bit easier to swallow. But good luck trying. That's the one thing that's the biggest tell.
Yeah, everyone's
if
gonna be
you're
going
tilting your
with
head to the left, like what does that say? So
Yeah.
the other thing that I found out too that's interesting is you don't get to pick which spell you cast first. If you cast them both, you cast the left one first and then the right one.
Oh.
So like you can't pick which is kind of, I don't know. It's it is what it is. We'll let that go though.
I don't want Selesnya.
I'm sorry. Well, maybe I'm
I
not
want
saying
Rakdos, but I don't want.
I'll probably. I'm not saying I'll be right. I mean, that's just going off of 10 cards. Like actually, only 5 cards. So anyway, that's what.
That's true. They could be bringing out more splits in the next set.
Right. Sad face. So anyway, other than
Or they
that,
might abandon the whole terrible idea altogether.
I don't know. I hope they abandon it. I
Me
really
too.
do. Okay, so let's see here. Let's talk about the new Zelda game that was released, or not released. Excuse me, it was announced. So, what do you think if Sony were to come out and say, because you love Uncharted. Uncharted is like your PS3 golden boy. Like Drake is, if he was immortalized, you would leave me and go to him within
Maybe.
a heartbeat. Yeah, jackass.
You're the one
Anyway,
who said it, not me.
so what would you say if Sony came out, Naughty Dog came out and said, you know what, for Uncharted 4, screw the PS4, screw the PS3, we're going to release this thing on the PS Vita.
I'd buy the Vita.
Really?
Yeah. Actually, that's the whole reason I want a Vita, because they did bring in Uncharted out for the Vita that we don't have.
Okay, well, why would you buy it? Okay, here's a question. Why would you buy the Vita?
For the game.
Because the game is good, because Naughty Dog produces great games, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Nintendo has let me down for the past 5-6 years.
Well, and it would also then result in me not purchasing the PS4 until they come out with an Uncharted game for the PS4.
Exactly. So here's my problem. They released this game. It looks all right. First off, it's a sequel to a Legend of Zelda game, which, in my opinion, should not happen ever. Majora's Mask was the closest thing to a sequel to Ocarina of Time, but this is straight out linked to the past 2. The map is very identical. In fact, it's so identical that when they announced the game, they said it is a sequel to the first one. So this is after the events of the first one. But if you go back and put the two maps side by side, there's clearly some issues going on because like some things aren't exactly right. Like if you've already been to this place, why is there still a statue here that was taken? There's a specific item. I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but why is there a specific item that is here that shouldn't be here? Because at the end of the Link to the Past 1, it's gone. So if it's a direct sequel, why is that still there? I don't know. It's just frustrating. So to me, it's almost like they're setting it up it's going to set up for failure, and there's going to be a whole bunch of lore type of thing, like errors, that it's just going to make the game terrible for hardcore fans. Not to mention the dungeons from the first game. I'm used to spending 45 minutes, an hour and a half in these dungeons, really scraping the bottom of them, trying to find every heart piece, every weapon, every rupee or whatever you could find in this game, and they're talking about 10-minute dungeons. 10-minute dungeons. How I understand you're playing this thing on the 3DS, and that's probably what my first complaint is, that they're bringing out for the 3DS this year-old system when you have a brand new shiny system.
Well, it's not even a year-old system. The DS is how old now?
No, this is the 3DS.
Right, which is essentially the exact same thing as the DS, but
Right.
just makes your eyes hurt.
But you have this
and-
brand new
yeah.
piece of hardware, and you have every reason to release this badass game, first-party title on
What
the system.
badass piece of hardware are you talking about?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's not really that badass, but it's the Wii 2.
Yeah,
The Wii U.
that's
But
not.
to win the people over, win the hardcore gamers over that did not go out and buy this thing right off the bat, why would you not release this game on the Wii U? Take advantage of, screw 3D, throw that crap out the window, take advantage of the tablet, take advantage of, the inventory management system that they've already got implemented into this.
And that crappy graphics.
Well, but the thing is, that's the thing.
Sorry,
Here-
sorry,
but-
I
but
just have an issue
this
with
is
the Wii to begin
but
with,
hold
whatever
on,
the heck
time
the
out.
system's called to
Time
begin
out.
with.
If you're gonna make a sequel from a sprite-based game from the 1990s, why not keep it in that same, art style? Keep the sprites. Don't don't put it in HD or whatever. Still make it letterbox or whatever, but keep the sprites. It was like a perfect recipe for their console, but they're like, you know what? Let's go and up the graphics a little bit and try to make it 3D and
Horrible 3D.
Oh my
I'm sorry, I hate that. I don't like any of the
this
Nintendo
was a
systems.
no-brainer, and they completely shit all over my childhood. I'm just saying.
I never played any Zelda game.
We should break out A Link to the Past, the first one, and I should let you play it. And I don't know how we would ever play this one, but because I'm not buying a 3DS.
No.
But if Uncharted 4 did come out on the Vita, I would buy a Vita in a heartbeat because I know that game is going to be awesome.
We still don't have a Vita, and it already came out it released with an Uncharted game.
Did it? Well, that wasn't a sequel, though. That's the thing. That wasn't a sequel. That was more of a spin-off.
Right. Side story.
Right. This is a direct sequel. So of course I want to play it, and this isn't like a Forged Swords, stupid multiplayer knockoff game. This is
No.
a full-fledged, flushed-out game on not defective, inferior platform. But
It's defective.
no, I wouldn't say it's defective. I mean,
I know there's kids that play it.
There's good games on it, but the thing is,
I hear there are children that play it.
I hear.
Children that play it.
I also, never mind. So that's my 2 cents. So I think we're
And I'm not the only one apparently who would buy the Vita for the Uncharted. Thank you.
I'm just saying.
See,
I know
I have support out there. Love for Drake.
he is pretty hot.
He is.
I would turn
Especially
gay
when,
for him.
man, when he runs through the water and the water makes it looks like he actually really was in
But
the
his
water.
hair stays perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a hot game. I like it. All right, so we have not opened the phones in a long time. We've since upgraded Amanda's computer twice, I think. So we're gonna
Not-
try this and see how it goes.
So I need to get out of
just
my
go
thing.
top left. There you go. On top of that, we're running Windows 8 on this god awful computer. Well, the computer's good.
Hey, the computer's awesome.
Computer's awesome. Windows 8 is terrible. Do not buy a laptop with Windows 8 in it.
You have no choice right now.
Well, then don't buy a laptop. You should hold off. All right. So head over to Skype. You can.
Can we go ahead and call him? Call FaZe?
No, you
Is that
don't.
what we're supposed to do? Oh.
Someone will call and let it
Oh,
go.
I thought we were supposed to call FaZe.
No. We already called FaZe.
Before the show?
Before the show.
So why did you call? Why? What?
To set it up, to make sure it would work, and I don't know if it's
Oh,
going to
my
work or not. That's the
goodness.
thing. So our Skype name is Ball and Shade Podcast. We could talk about anything you guys want to talk about. Uncharted and how awesome Drake is. Just give me more Drake. We could talk about Dragon Maze, where everybody's going. We're going to Bell Book and Comic. I know there's a group of people going out to Epic Loot. So
Yeah.
anyway, so let's look back at some of these Rakdos cards, because I have a sneaky suspicion that I'm going to be teamed up with Rakdos, so I could probably kind of read up on some of these. Which there was the leader or whatever is pretty bitchin'. Each other creature I control with a +1/+1 counter has haste. Unfortunately, with the mirror, that does not do me any good.
No, that would work very well with a
Although, if I got this demon dude, drop someone down to 1 with 1 hit, that's pretty fun. The Master of Cruelties, 5, 1 red, 1 black, 3 colorless, demon for strike and death touch. All kinds of good stuff. So,
That's why I want to be paired with Rakdos.
with your Orzhov,
Yes.
we'll see. I mean, that's always the best part. Like, I think is getting your stacks of cards and finding what you have, spreading them all out, and then be like, all right, what am I gonna do with this? And there's always that one card that you get, and you're like, man, I really want to use that card, but that would require using more mana, and if you have to add a 4th color, that's rough. So anyway, I don't know if Skype's gonna work or not. So, well, anyway, we'll try it again next week, but for some odd reason, it's not working. I don't know why it's not
Because
working.
nobody's calling it.
Well, I wasn't really going to say that out loud over the air, but you can be a douche and say that all you want. Douche. That's it. I hope you get Selesnya.
No, well,
Yes.
you know what? Then I'll populate your ass.
You can't populate
Actually, you
anything
know
with
what?
Orzhov.
I don't
Well,
want to populate your ass anyhow. That'd be a really smelly room. Okay.
anyway. All right, guys. Well, we'll be back next week. Next Tuesday, we'll talk about how the actual release goes. Well, it's actually, the nice thing is we'll have cards before the actual set releases, so we can talk about what we got, talk about how the actual event went. I'm trying to get somebody to work for me for Friday, so I can go to Friday night, my first Friday Night Magic.
It'd be nice if you find someone to take over your Saturday for you.
Oh, I don't know if
So
that's
you
going to
could
work.
go to a certain surprise party
I
we
could.
have that day.
I could. There are 4 viewers in here. How do you know something's not one of them?
I don't know that.
Good job. Anyway, all right, guys. Well, we're going to call it a night. We'll be back for next week, episode 162. Same time, same place. You can head over to ballandchainpodcast.podbean.com to listen to our old shows, or if you'd like to watch them, head over to ustream.tv/channel/BC Podcast. Clan's website, 72dpionline.com, which is kind of got a splash page going on right now. It's in the middle of reconstruction. So, anyway, so we'll see you guys next week. If you're playing in the tournaments, as far as Dragon's Maze goes, good luck. And any departing words?
I can't think of anything. I know I'm exciting, right? Yay.
Yay. Let's go to bed.